Ralph, did we get a review code for Borderlands 3?
No.
What do we have?
Fortnite guns.
Oh yeah, I thought I'd load it in front of the camera because it looks cool. Why do we have these?
Epic Games bad?
Oh yeah, Epic Games bad. I like that. Well, let's do the review. Epic Games bad, but is Borderlands 3 bad? 10:01 will tell you. Oh,
that's pretty close, actually.
Not a bad
close.
shot. Is Epic Games bad? You better fucking agree.
And this is the comment section. You better fucking say the Borderlands is good, man. If you say Borderlands bad, fuck you, man. So obviously this has been a very dramatic product in terms of its lead up.
Yes.
Which is to say that there was Epic Games bad, you had Randy Pitchford being an asshole.
USB porn.
You had Submatto who got deleted from YouTube for whatever, hired goons to his house. More recently you had review codes sent out to only outlets that were like sympathetic in their coverage. That's 2K words pretty much, verbatim almost. Very dodgy stuff. Today though, we're just going to talk about the game, right? We're all putting all that to the side and we're just going to focus on the actual product.
Yeah.
And I have no problem telling you that this is a really, really good game. And I have no problem recommending it to you.
Yeah, pleasantly surprised. Now, just off the back of that though, let's start with the technical issues. Because I think the thing that a lot of people are talking about, regardless of how much they're enjoying the game, is they're like blown away by if this game is just barely running on some machines. Some people, like Ralph, has a 2080, I have a 1080, and there looks to be a huge division between is this game running well or not. Me personally, I've actually found that it's running pretty well. Where Ralph, I've been streaming, you've been streaming, I've been playing a lot with you. Sometimes you're like running at what, 25 to 35 to 40 frames per second.
40 frames a second, yeah. I'm on an RTX 2080 Ti, like almost the best graphics card in the market, and I'm very often getting frame drops down to like 40 FPS when the action heats up. I'm generally sitting at around like 60 to 70 FPS. A lot of people with similar configurations are getting the same, but it must be said, a lot of people with very different configurations having no problems at all.
Yes.
Digital Foundry today just did some analysis on the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X versions of it and found huge issues with the resolution mode, trying to go for max resolution, almost unplayable. People playing split screen on consoles say it's pretty much unplayable because the frame rate is so bad. Menus are extremely laggy. Quite a few people are talking about the fact that their save progress is getting deleted. I'm seeing that all over Twitter. There are a lot of issues with this game, and this to me is the biggest reason why I'm sure 2K did not send out review code more broadly, which is what we said a few days ago, which is that this is a good game, but the technical side is very shaky for a lot of people. And I would say at the very highest level, if you can hold off on buying Borderlands for a while, I would recommend it until they've done some optimization work and improved it, because right now I think it's too shaky for too many people.
Yeah, it's a shame that Epic Games does not have a refund policy that allows you to potentially just jump on even for half an hour. Just see if your particular rig is going to actually play this thing. I've had a very good experience. I've been doing ultra wide. It does not deal with ultra wide cutscenes at all. It's different with some games where I have a 1080p, you can still watch the whole thing. I've been experiencing that half the actual cutscene is just, you can't see it. But when the actual game starts, the ultra wide, it's working beautifully. I'm getting easily 60 frames per second. I'm not having any drops with my 1080 Ti. So in that regard, I've had a very different experience to that. So if, I just wish that Epic Games did allow people to try and jump on and see if they could play it, but naturally that's not happening right now.
Your mileage may vary, so check that out for yourself. So that's the technical side of the thing. Outside of that, I would say the game is just awesome fun. Like, it's just...
look, it's a very well put together package.
It's just Borderlands 2, however... it looks better. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, it looks still shitty, it looks like a PS3 game, whatever else. I think if you see this game in motion and you compare it to number 2, there has been a significant visual uplift. It really does look very pretty. It's not like the best looking game you're ever going to see, but it really is pretty nice looking most of the time. Yeah, and I appreciate the art style.
Cell shading could be interesting because it can it's dated extremely well. It's
timeless.
Wind Waker, if you look back, it still looks gorgeous. I know there's been a remastered version, but the point I'm making there is if you look at the remastered version of Wind Waker compared to the old one, you can see the differences here. And that's probably what people need to do to realize the actual jump that Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3 has made.
Yes, agreed. I think the other thing as well is, the other big difference from Borderlands 2 is gunplay. The gunplay here is so much better than Borderlands 2. If you go back and play that, it does feel a bit dated. It feels quite floaty. The guns sort of seem to, I don't know, they just don't feel quite right. And I feel like Destiny 2 really raised the bar. Destiny as a franchise raised the bar for what weapon mechanics were. And I feel like this sort of, it gets much closer to that bar. I don't think it's quite as good as Destiny in terms of weapon mechanics, how they feel, but I do feel as though it's pretty close a lot of the time. And I really am remarking just how great it feels to fire guns in this game all the time.
Yeah.
So they're the two biggest differences for me. The graphical uplift and the weapon mechanics. The rest of it, I feel, is pretty much the same, specifically the story.
Yeah, so story for me, look, there's been many times where I'm just like waiting for whoever's talking in the corner to just shut up, because I just don't care. I know that sounds like, this game for me was never about let's jump on and take me on some huge journey where I think it's going to be a storytelling masterpiece. It's about exploding things and exploring a really cool world, and it hasn't disappointed in that regard for me. I'm not really interested in the story, and it hasn't really captivated me.
Yeah.
But it hasn't damaged my enjoyment of the game.
I would say that, the PC Gamer Review, for example, was really critical of the writing and the jokes and whatever else. Look, I agree with a lot of what they said in terms of, like, it's pretty average writing most of the time. And and a lot of people are like, well, that's just Borderlands, man. It's like, well, actually, I don't agree. Borderlands 2, I just think was funnier than this. It was better written. The Handsome Jack was, like, one of the great video game villains, like, of all time, really. Like, he's so well written. These new villains really suck. The whole thing just kind of goes down. And I really think it is less crisp than Borderlands 2 was.
In terms of writing.
In terms of writing, exactly right. And I like Borderlands humor, man. It's funny. I dig it. There's a good 20% of the time where I'm actually really enjoying the stories and the ridiculousness. But there's 80% of the time where I'm like, eh. And I think a really good frame of reference is like Tales from the Borderlands, where they really did take a huge step up in terms of like storytelling and characters and drama in that story there, So I would have loved to have seen them take some of that DNA and bring it into Borderlands 3. It hasn't happened, and you really are looking at like poor man's Borderlands 2 for the storytelling. Like just like dollar store discount Borderlands 2 villains. That's what I think.
I think the characters themselves, though, just off the back of the story, some of the most interesting looking designs. The bosses look absolutely incredible. The NPCs, there is such a rich story being told every time you look at someone, And I think that with Borderlands 3, I wasn't a big fan of Borderlands 1 and 2. I literally jumped on for like an hour with the other ones. So I'm also new to this franchise. So to see how much they're trying to tell the story also through the aesthetics of the characters, I think it's like, it looks incredible, And I think that Rage 2 did that also, just really nailing creating an environment and the characters just sitting in the middle of that environment, and it feels just perfect.
I do agree in the sense the environments, I think, really do some fantastic work. And just to be clear, Borderlands 1 and 2, you're in one location the entire time on Pandora. Here, you're visiting multiple planets, and that really changes up the game in a very big way. Just radically different locations with vastly different enemy types. It really does go a long way to keeping the entire thing feeling fresh. I mean, I must be at least coming up on 20 hours in at this point, and I'm not getting tired of it, because I'm always seeing a new location, always seeing a new enemy. And the little story beats as well, when they work, they're nice,
I thought that I was going to jump on here and just experience that kind of sandy desert look of Borderlands. And to see that every few hours you really are jumping sometimes to like an area, on the moon, and another area that's like in the marshes, and like it is very dedicated to making sure aesthetically you are getting new things to explore and look at.
I would say that the guns are still the standout. It's incredible the diversity of weapons that they've got here. I'd say this is a step up from Borderlands 2. Not a huge step, but definitely a step. You never know what you're going to pick up. You just have no idea. And the thrill that you get when you get some awesome legendary with some ridiculously over-the-top power, function mechanic associated with it. It's so satisfying. I've got this rocket launcher that basically feels like a BFG every time you fire it. I mean, you could go on for hours, and we're only about halfway through the game. People tell me it gets way crazier later on. So I think this is so important for a game like this, because I think games with like Destiny or The Division, you know, you kind of just get more stats, like more numbers, and it kind of feels quite hollow. Whereas with this, you get new mechanics when you pick up a new weapon. It feels completely different. It's like picking up a new Destiny exotic every 10 minutes, you know? And that is just so special, I think.
Yeah, when I was playing this game, this is the one thing for me that was really standing out. Like, I don't think I've ever played a game that made every single weapon feel like it was like completely designed from the ground up.
Yeah.
So much tender love and care from each. It was just every single time you're right. Every time you picked up an item, you're like, how is this going to be completely different from the previous weapon? And it was never disappointed. I was never disappointed.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and it was half the reason why I wanted to continue to traverse through the world, even though the world did look fantastic, was to see like what crazy things are they going to put into this weapon this time.
Yeah.
You know, so that's gone a long way in terms of enjoying the experience.
I would say that boss encounters, they look really pretty, but I'd say they're kind of boring most of the time. They're most of the time,
because you feel the loop. You know, there's a loop there already that I'm seeing.
Yeah, most of the time they just stand in the middle of the room and you blow them up. They have some mechanics, but not many, and it's pretty dull. Like I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Two of the encounters I found are really spectacular.
The giant ball.
The giant ball that looked like a Destiny servitor, and also one of the Vault Guardians. Yeah. But the rest of it is just feeling a bit meh. You know, I'm not really loving that.
I just think it's kind of not. I wouldn't say lazy, but it just seems like some of them are just bullet spongy big meatheads that you just gotta just sit there and pummel for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It gets boring. That's the type of boss you want to experience once, and to have such such diversity in environment, weapon mechanics, character design, and then for the mechanics in bosses to not have that same diversity, a bit disappointing.
I agree. Look, I would say overall, though, this game is at least 30 hours for the campaign, probably closer to 40 hours. And then you hit the endgame stuff, which, you know, there's a bit of endgame stuff at the moment, a few different game modes and what have you, but it's really just about grinding, the sort of campaign sort of thing. Later on, they'll add DLC, which will flesh out the endgame further, which is what they do with Borderlands 2. There's a lot of replayability with this game. You've got 4 characters to choose from, all of them very, very different in terms of how they play. You've got the endless loot grind. You're going to have DLC in the future. Right now, there's lots of customization in there that's free, you know, so you can customize characters. No microtransactions
it's all
yet.
Picking up and stuff.
They've said they're not going to add traditional microtransactions for this game, but realistically what that means is they will add them later on. That's
in a sneaky way.
No, but they did the same with Borderlands 2 as well. So at the end of the day, though, I don't feel as though that game ripped me off at any point in time. I always thought it was good value.
Yeah, I think
so far Borderlands 3 feels like fantastic value.
I think it's a different landscape now from what we've seen with 2K, with like how far they've been pushing that.
True.
Just be cautious about how they end up monetizing that.
Definitely.
But like all in all, I think this is a very well polished game. I'm very satisfied with it.
Yep.
As a person that has only experienced Borderlands 1 and 2 a little bit, it's a great. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I think it's definitely a game, definitely to try out. The technical issues are an issue for a lot of people. It's a shame that we can't definitely say, get out there and get it right now, because we don't know genuinely if it's going to run on your platform.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the future, these issues are taken, that they're taken out. But at the moment, if you can run it, it's definitely a game to play.
I would say that there's also going to be a discussion about how much this game should have evolved, and I think that's a legitimate discussion to be had, right? I know some people are happy that they didn't fix what isn't broken. I'm pretty much in that camp as well. I'm like, yeah, cool, this is good. I do think they could have done more with open world design. I do think they could have done more with quest design. I do think they could have done more with boss design and set pieces and stuff like that. I really feel like there's nothing that I can hang my hat on with this game and say this is notably different, like vastly different and better and new versus Borderlands 2, other than the gunplay being tighter, you know? So I think there was an opportunity to do stuff there that wouldn't have like fixed or changed what wasn't broken, but just expanded the experience and made it better. They chose not to do that. That's fine. That's their choice. I get it. I think anyone that looked at Borderlands 2 and thought, that's boring, I don't really want to play any more of it, Borderlands 3 is not going to change your mind. It's the same thing with a much better coat of paint, with better underlying mechanics. That's it, you know what I mean? And that's going to make you either really happy or you're just going to go, either one.
Yeah. But all in all, guys, that's it for today. I mean, that's my ending.
That's the ending.
That's the technical issues that we're experiencing at Laymen Gaming. We don't know what our ending is.
We're going to take a week off now. Sam is in Tokyo.
I'm not going to be with you guys.
He's not going to be here, so we're going to take a week off Laymen. I'm going to be streaming on SkillUp, reviewing this, and I'm also going to be reviewing Surge 2 very soon as well, so check that out. We'll leave a link to my Twitch in the description below. Come and hang out. Thank you very much, everyone. And
the
we'll see
comment
you-
section, be good, okay? Can you shoot it? Yeah. That was a bad.
You gonna get it?
You hit yourself. I'm glad. Goodbye.
Rewind time, everybody.